We are recording. Okay, so this is the Hovercam. Like I said, it's kind of like it is like a laptop on wheels. But what I'm going to do is I have this camera here that we can use. I set up a laptop with a webcam right there, so that can be the student. So if you see that camera, I have it pinned right now. That's me. And then we also have over here Zach. If you can find his camera, would you call it? Is yours just your name?
My name, yeah.
Yeah. So if you see Zach Ismail, you can go ahead and join on that, or take a look at his camera, and that'll show you what I'm doing here. So I may change which camera is highlighted as we go through, but that's your student view that you're viewing it through right now. So as we take a look at this big contraption, that's very scary, but also very simple. The first thing I want to do is change. This is a zoom operation, not a thing operation. I need to pin. Oh, yes. Can you turn your video on, sir? Thank you.
There we go.
All right. And I am going to, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So this is the unit here. A couple of things that I'm going to show you. When you walk up to the unit, you'll see it's on wheels. Yours most likely will not be plugged into the network. This one is, but you will have a power plug. So that'll be the only thing that you have to fight with. You can move this however you see fit. Up here in the controls, you can see that this actually can move forward and back this way. So if I want it more level, I get it more level, angled up a little bit. And then, so right here are your adjustments to move the machine up and down. So if you have a height difference with the professor before you, you can lower it or raise it. It goes low enough to accommodate a wheelchair, and it goes high enough where, well, Zach can use it, and he's very tall, so we should be okay there. So one of the first things I wanted to show you is actually, let me turn to this camera here. And I'm just going to tell you, the hardest thing about operating this unit has really nothing to do with the unit itself. It's more about session management while you're inside of Zoom. So you can see on this screen, you know, I'm inside of Zoom here. So I'm operating 3 cameras. You'll only have to worry about 1. So let me go ahead and replace my spot. Oh, you know what we should do? Let's do this. So normally when you walk into a classroom, what you're accustomed to seeing is this sort of table, right, with the computer on top. So this sort of thing might be to the side, but we're still going to have the controls. In every room, you'll find that there are instruction sets for you. And on this particular one, it'll work the same way. If you want to turn the projector on, you can. PC, however, will now be the Hovercam unit, and laptop will be the immersive unit, which we'll go over just a little bit right after this. Questions so far? I don't want to get too far in. No? All right, hold on. Let's change our cameras. Okay, there we go. Okay. So what I'll show you here, if we keep looking at this camera, so you'll see that this actually has a little slide keyboard that comes out. Your touchpad is right here, but also keep in mind, this is all a touch screen. So anytime I want to do anything, I can just click right on the screen. It'll be right there for me, or I can use the keyboard. There is a touchpad here. If for some reason you don't like the touchpad, you're definitely not alone. There are on the side of the machine, on the right side of the machine, you do have inputs here for USB connections. There's also an HDMI input. And if you ever walk into the room and somebody turned it off on you, the power button is on the right-hand side there. And we ask you, please not to press that reset button. So the other things that'll be tempting on this unit, this right here. Everyone thinks this is a microphone because that's a perfectly reasonable thing to think. It's not. Basically, they decided to put a self-destruct button right there for you to press. We recommend that you don't. What that's actually for is to pair this unit with the receiver. So do your best to stay away from the bright yellow one. So this camera, I'm just going to say, let me highlight this. Yeah. Okay. So this camera right here is no doubt the hardest part of this whole thing. And that's not to scare you, that I'm just being honest. The rest of it's really just a computer. There's no new tricks being thrown at you. Other than that, it's a touch screen. That's really the only thing you have to worry about. And even then, like I said, not a big deal. What I find most difficult for me personally is operating the camera and getting it exactly how I want it with the orientation. So if we can look on, yeah, we're gonna look at you. So what this is meant to be is a multi-use camera. So we can use it for documents so that if you're showing things to your class, you can put your documents here. So they get a nice close-up view. So when I say it's difficult, this is what I mean. If we look here on the controls, there are a few things here. So we can zoom in, we can zoom out. We can flip the image. And that's what gets a lot of people, me, myself included. And over here, this is all about focus and autofocus. I typically don't have a problem with either one of those. I've never had a reason to touch them yet. But what you will see is when I try to go from this sort, do you see what's happening right now? There's an adjustment inside of the Hovercam itself. It's this little gear on this wheel, and that flips the camera. So what you may end up doing, and don't worry, is that you may end up coming to class and trying to set this thing up, and then you look like this. So I'm not defying gravity, but I do have to remember to either use the switch up here, which, okay, that made it worse. Now I have to press the, see? So for me, that's the hardest part, is just learning this tiny Solo 8 camera. That's what this is referred to as the Solo 8. You will see some places that have only the Solo 8, and those will have the computers that we've always had. So you shouldn't have any issues with those. Those are the same logging in. Questions? I know I've covered a little bit here, but I want to be sure that I get your any of your concerns covered. Special things you want to see, anything like that? Oh, yeah. Can you guys do crowd control for me? Call on somebody here.
What does that mean?
Mariana, what's your question?
Oh,
There's hands up.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't see any hands up.
Yeah, this is Mariana, and you guys can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, great. So I have a couple of questions, because what happened is, imagine, Dave, that, well, you have a couple of people looking at you. You have 32 students staring at you. So on my experience as an instructor is you have to have the technology to the T, because you can't like really have so much room for I don't know, like trying to figure out, troubleshoot things. You have to try, as a professor, you need to do it, and it has to work, because otherwise students are first they don't laugh, but eventually. So my question to you is a couple, actually. I mean, I definitely will go in person and play around with myself, because I think that it's easier if I am the one, at least I'm going to speak with myself, touching all this.
It is. So actually, you brought up something I wanted to touch on. Thank you. And I'll let you keep going, but I just wanted to interject for a second and let people know, I understand this is not the most effective way to learn this. If anyone wants to come in to get some personal instruction, if you feel comfortable with that, I'm vaccinated. I have my forms in. I got all my shots, and I'll wear my muzzle. So it is an opportunity, so that just anyone that has any issues or something like that, we do offer in person as well. I'm sorry, Mariana, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So what I'm saying is, first, like just something kind of a logistic thing. Let's say, I practice, how to do it. So we still have only 15 minutes before the other instructor, right? Because my concern is there might be a little bit of setting up that needs to be done. And I think all of us, I would prefer to do it now when we have the students staring at us. So we still have the 15 minutes, right? That's how it's going to be handled.
Yeah.
All right. And the other thing, I went there, I used it once only, but I didn't use the technology you're using right now in terms of using the Zoom. I was just in person with the people there. But one of the things I noticed is that basically you need to upload everything in Google Share. Everything has to be in the cloud to use it. Otherwise, there's no other way you can just do stuff, right?
I got you.
And then the audio, I have instructors telling me that that's why I say if you can hear me, because one of the issues that we have is that when students are on Zoom, like we are now we are your students, and they want to have a question. Some instructors told me that they weren't able to hear. Do you know why that could be? What is missing there?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of factors that go along with that. I would have to know, what are the students using? Were their machines and microphones working? Was she in a room that had audio, currently hooked up? There's a lot of variables there.
Yeah, so imagine that you have a student, like I'm trying to ask a question, kind of ask a question, we troubleshoot, I guess we'll tell the student to chat. But I'm saying is there any way we can just be more prepared as professors to kind of, be prepared for this? Because like basically we don't know, can we tell all the students, hey, can we just do an audio test, everyone? You know what I mean? Like if you can give me tips so I can share with the adjuncts and all that about how can we sort of prevent some possibilities of things that could occur. Like, is there something we can do, like a little check before we start so we don't get interrupted in the class?
Yeah, there's a lot you can do, but that sort of thing, believe it or not, is independent of this. That's just the settings in Zoom, really. So that you would keep your waiting room or set up a password or something of that nature, to make sure that only the individuals you want to participate are your participants. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I was just telling, let's say, imagine that we already allowed, they were in the waiting room. I have 10 people in the class, the 20 that were in Zoom, they come to my class, everybody's in, authorized. But then they want to ask a question and they just cannot do it. But you say it's maybe the setting that the individual student has on Zoom that could be preventing them, most likely.
So what I see a lot of, definitely, is it happened to me when I walked in this room today. And this is one thing I will, this is a landmine, if you will. One of the things that I noticed when I first walked in the room is on Zoom, on the actual Zoom settings. And like I said, it really doesn't have anything to do with this. It's more this in conjunction with Zoom that makes it kind of weird. Can you come over here for a second? Okay, so one of the things I want to show you is the first thing I actually got when I opened all this was a black screen. And 9 out of 10 times when you can't see or hear somebody, it's going to be in these options right here. Okay. So for example, I couldn't see myself when we started this. So I knew from experience, look, there's cameras here. And it had selected this. Watch what happens to my face. Bye. So I knew enough to go here and hit solo Hovercam Hover. I mean, this will all be set up before you get in, so hopefully that won't be something you have to do. But again, that's actually independent of this unit. It's more that it's the computer that it has trouble with. And the same goes for the microphone. You'll notice that this has multiple microphones to pick from. So sometimes I find that a student will have something else checked here, or they won't have same as system, or they'll have some sort of weird option here that doesn't work. But then when they check either same as system or a microphone like Real Tech or something like that, that's when it tends to work just fine. So a lot of times the trouble is really with telling the computer, whichever computer, whether it's you or them, telling Zoom exactly which camera and microphone to use. That's actually usually the problem. Is that helpful?
Yes, and I will let someone else to ask the question. I'm just saying that we're gonna have a lot of because there will be more people on campus using this. It's very different than last semester. And let me tell you, my classes in person, I already have students contact me asking me, oh, this day I'm not gonna be able to, so are you gonna stream live? So I think that there will be maybe a little bit of an expectation from students that everybody, all instructors are familiar with the system, because they will say, well, my other instructor, if I miss the class or I'm whatever, they do it. So I think we're moving towards that direction. So that's what I think this training is so important. And I'm going to encourage everybody in my team to come, the August 31st. I'll be there again, I think. Thank you.
Also, Dave, if you do one-on-ones with anybody, if you need a student to be the guinea pig or a practice student, by all means, invite me and I will be a student.
Yeah, and I really want I want everybody to know more than anything else. I will absolutely do my best to make sure you don't fail. For the first few weeks of the semester, I'll be parked in the CTL, and the reason for that is to cut down on response time. So I'll be sitting there with a laptop open, waiting for your cries for help. My AV staff will also be running around, I'm sure, along with Jeff's help desk staff, the same thing. We really want to make sure you succeed. So while we've offered these trainings in a schedule, if there's anyone you hear of that has had trouble in the past and wants to rectify that, or somebody that just really prefers one-on-one attention so that they can understand all the tiny intricacies like selecting cameras and things, I am more than happy to meet with anyone that wants to, in whatever level of comfort they have, whether that's individual on Zoom over here and I grab a big tall cameraman, or you come in by yourself. I'm open to either one. It's certainly never an issue with me.
Okay, we do have a question. Champica, you have your hand up?
Yes. So one thing is, when you focused in on computer choice and mic choice, I couldn't see what it's supposed to be. So even though any of these things may be set, we are guaranteed that other people who came before us who may not know how to operate it would have punched everything they could have punched and touched, and it could be anywhere. So we do.
That never happens. I'm just kidding. You can't see my smile, but I know it does.
So just like you showed us, okay, so the screen might go black. You can't even see yourself. Could you zoom in to show on which camera choice, which mic?
That's my first question. Real hard. Let me, so on Zoom, you might see it actually in your lower left-hand side of your screen where Zoom is. You'll have me.
If it's just the Zoom thing, then I know. Okay.
So every computer will show something different here. What I mean by that is, a student isn't going to have a Hovercam Solo Plus. You know what I mean? So they'll have different things here. But what I find is a lot of people don't know or misunderstand what the option is, or they've allowed the system to pick it for them and it doesn't always choose correctly. That's why I try to point people as much as I can to whenever it says same as system, to try to go with that. I have a very strange setup here with 3 cameras and 1 audio source, so my settings are a little weird. But overall, that's where really a lot of the problems come from. And it's mostly a Zoom thing, because I've been helping people with that sort of issue since we started and before this was a thing, you know, just the Zoom in general.
I have a question, if I may,
Sure.
and I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Oh, how dare you?
I know, but
I do have a second question, so I'll wait.
all right, go ahead. You do
Yeah,
your
go ahead.
So you put a document on there and you turned your camera on your right to see it.
Yes.
Because we picked PC on the old console,
Yes.
does the classroom see it automatically?
Correct.
As long as
Okay.
the camera's on.
That can't, so yeah, like I said, I'm spotlighting 2 cameras and stuff, but follow me. You'll see on the screen, I am actually broadcasting everything we're doing. So anyone in this room could see what we're doing. They can see you, they can see me. So just to answer, so that's, yes, you can absolutely broadcast. Whether that's, you know, to the screen with yourself, with a document, whatever it happens to be, you can absolutely do it. But you see what I'm saying? Notice how I switched from this back up to me, and now I don't need to look at it. I kind of have muscle memory to know which, like how it flips. I know it sounds silly. That's the hardest part, is just operating the camera and knowing where the buttons are to make it the orientation you'd like it to be, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she asked the same question I was going to ask. Thank you.
Oh, hey, 2 for 1. I like it.
know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's good. But like I said, can you come here for a second? So I just, this is the only way I can do it. I'm so sorry. In lieu of being in person, we're going to see, 40 copies of my hand. But what I just really wanted to show you is all of this is, if I minimize this, hey, email, minimize this. It's just really a computer like you'd see on campus anywhere else. Only you can have the option to use the touch screen, or you can always pull out and use the touchpad and keyboard, entirely up to you. There's an on-screen keyboard as well. So one thing it's not short of is options. There's a lot of options here, but with options, you know, sometimes comes a little bit of trouble. Thankfully, with these units, the way that they've been, like I said, the problem really hasn't been in operation of this unit. It's more cameras in Zoom and telling Zoom which camera and getting the orientation right. It's really kind of the minutia that's hard for me.
I have one more question.
Sure.
I'm sorry. So if I walk into a room and I'm not going to be broadcasting through Zoom, I'm just going to be teaching in person.
Yep.
What's the first step? I want to use the document camera to show something,
Sure.
the projector. So when I walk into the room, everything is off.
Yes, so everything would be off. The only thing you would need to do, and like I said previously, there are instructions on the top of this, but the only thing you would need to do is make sure this is on, and PC in this room means Hovercam. Laptop in this room means Immersive Solstice.
Thank you.
Yes, so has anyone heard of the Immersive Solstice? Know what that is? So
Nope.
That's a little, it's this little box, if you will, that lives locally. But what it does is it allows you to take your mobile device, so whether that's your laptop or your phone, and you can share it to either your screen right up on here. Let me see if actually, so we'll have to switch inputs for that.
We're gonna, yeah, so we're not gonna be able to hear you guys.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I mean, I can turn it on here. I can hear
yeah.
him here. Actually, nobody, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, so
All
mute
right,
yourself
so-
here for a moment. Unmute here. There we go.
Okay.
Now speak.
Our immersive just came on. So right here, what this is, this allows you, if you'd like, there's an Immersive Solstice app all the instructions are right here when you click on laptop. So you can go and download software, and your students can as well. It's on the IT website. I can certainly send links. And that'll allow you to BYOD. So if you didn't want to, sort of deal with any of this and you were just comfortable using your laptop, the room has that option as well. So you could always wirelessly cast. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Shampika has a question.
Oh, sure.
I did, which is, you showed us the view where we go back to the basic computer that's on your
Yes.
screen.
Yes.
But on our basic computer, we could go to email and then open up a PowerPoint we sent to ourselves by email and display it. So Mariana had said you have to have the documents on a cloud, like including whether it's Google Drive or Google Share. So you don't need to do that. I can email it to myself and just open it the way I would in my regular computer.
You can, absolutely.
So Mariana actually just asked where you can connect the laptop, and there are no wires, correct?
The laptop? No, it's wireless.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
the
gonna
laptop's
be a
wireless.
Solstice connection.
Yep. When you walk in the room, there's actually instructions on the screen that will tell you what to put in your web browser, like, oh, first time, and then it gives you this number 10.11. Does everyone see that? So along with that, I can go ahead and forward some information on the immersive unit. But that is a substitute if in case you didn't want to use this. Something does exist in the room for you to wirelessly cast your own device.
Want to switch back?
David, can I ask a question?
Oh, I hear Mark.
Yeah, hi, David. Hi.
Todd?
I'm not haunting you. Good to see you, David.
Yes.
If we use the laptop, and Zach and Jason Goyat already gave me a session in 318, ST 318.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What I couldn't remember is with the laptop, do I have to be signed into Worcester State, my Worcester State account when I use the laptop with the Hovercam and an immersive device?
So the immersive device, as far as I know, that's an app that goes on the machine.
You don't
and
have
as
to be
long
logged
as
in.
you have what it asks for is a passcode.
But
And that's on the screen, right? That gives
Yeah.
and that
Yes.
changes all the time.
It does, to make sure that the next class doesn't play any games. Yeah.
So I do not have to be signed into my Worcester State account.
not on your laptop. No.
Not on your laptop technically, but you would have to be signed into WSU's wireless network.
Yeah,
So-
you're gonna have to be on the Wi-Fi.
Right. So you'd have to be on the Wi-Fi, not necessarily, signed into a university machine. You would just need to connect the Wi-Fi so that your the signal from your laptop uses the Wi-Fi to go to the projector. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay, I just have to make sure that I'm signed into the Wi-Fi.
Correct.
Is that
Yeah,
a permanent
that's really
sign-in,
it.
or do
Yeah.
I have to do that for each class?
No.
No, once you sign in once for the Wi-Fi, it sticks for the whole semester. You might have to renew your credentials when you change your password for your email, but once you're signed in, that's it. You're signed in.
And also, if you teach in a different room, that number, like you astutely pointed out, will change. So while you can open the app and things like that, you don't necessarily need to be signed in. You'll just need to have the passcode that's on the screen. It wants to make sure you're actually local.
And that's something that everybody should realize, that passcode changes all the time.
It does.
It's very it expires quickly.
It's a
Yeah,
little
it's kinda
tough
tough
to
to
see,
see with the-
but it
yeah.
gives it to you right here as well.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I don't know how well you can see that, but we see it pretty well.
Thank you
It
very much.
changes often so that students won't be enrolled in someone else's class.
Yes, very early on in testing this a few years ago, when Ed decided to take control of our computer from a different building, we thought it would be a good idea. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh, you know what? Yeah, headphone jack, microphone, autofocus. I mean, honestly,
Well, you have a
like I
question?
said, I'm sorry, someone say something?
Carol, do you have a question?
Oh, sorry. I think Carol's muted. There
No,
she
she's
is.
got it.
There we go.
I have all my course documents on Blackboard, so when I come in, I can log into Blackboard and pull up my documents. Is that
Yes,
correct?
absolutely. So let's view this a couple different ways. If I share my screen with Zoom, it's no different than I'm on any other machine.
So let's switch over.
So it'll say, oh, what do you want to share? I can say, yep, I want to share that screen. And then I just hit share. So you can see my desktop right now, but if this were anything on Blackboard, it would show as well. And it is showing on the screen. So it's both broadcasting my image and my screen with this single unit. It's got me and the screen broadcasting to both the projector and to you folks at the web.
And this is the little.
Oh yeah, and that's the little, yeah, that's the part we see that you can't. So that's where we can stop the share.
Taskbar, yeah.
Yep, and we stop it. Does that help?
She said, yeah, thumbs up.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the camera. Where's my
Can I
spot?
chime in? This is Emily.
Yeah.
So I think these are really great questions, and I hope you're all getting a sense of what the Hovercam is. But what I do want to remind everybody that, I mean, the Zoom feature is like part of what we can do because of the Solo 8 camera. But if we're just teaching face to face, we don't even need that camera.
You don't.
No.
Yeah, you're just gonna use it like a regular.
Right, that it's
computer.
just like teaching with the, the overhead projector, not, did I say overhead projector? Overhead
Yeah,
projector, but, with the projector projecting our slides, whatever it might be. So the whole Zoom complication is not part of it.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. And
Yeah.
yeah, the whole Zoom thing is actually, yeah, that's gonna be whether it's a Hovercam or not. That's the thing is with Zoom, it's more of just a PC coordination thing than it is really with the Hovercam. Like I said, my personal, I felt was the hardest was the camera, getting used to positioning that and having it exactly where you want it and exactly what the buttons do. But since I'm smart, it only took me a few days. Yeah. Other questions? Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you an entire feature.
Oh, looks like Carol has a question.
Oh, sure, Carol, yeah.
Carol, go ahead.
Hi, I was told that when you're done with your class, you have to log out so that
Correct.
It makes it easier to get
you're
the person
not
that-
still signed in when you leave.
Yeah, it's also a security issue as well.
Yeah, you'll notice actually on the desktop of these machines, you don't have to click start and find the profile and all that stuff. There is a button right on the desktop of all of these that you can double click. Please don't. And then it'll sign us out. Yeah, please don't. So that's all you need to do in order to sign out. There's no, start, go to the profile, hit that button. We put a shortcut for you right there on the desktop. So anytime you're done with class and done projecting, that sort of thing, you can just double click that and click the projector off, and that should be it.
So Dave, if
Yes.
the previous user forgets to log out, we can just push that button for them, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, you actually could. Hopefully nobody's walking away, leaving their account on, but yeah, you could. Alternatively, I'm sure you as instructors have seen this. Sometimes you'll enter a class and it'll say somebody else is logged in. So you'll then have to go Control Delete another account. That's still a thing. That's a Windows thing, unfortunately, not a Hovercam thing. And again, I just want to reinforce, I get it. I know. And this stuff, I totally understand is nerve-wracking. I do. I understand it. And like I said, I'm certainly open. Tell your friends. I'm certainly open to meet with anybody. I do understand the anxiety this would create. And as much as I can, sit here and tell you, don't worry about it, right? Like, I'm an IT professional, I get it. So all that being said, please, 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 if you feel like you want another spin, whether that's in person or whether that's a private session, then please reach out. My number one fear is that people will need help and they won't reach out not knowing that there's help available. So while we did offer all these trainings and Emily was nice to coordinate all of this for us, really, I get it. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Other questions?
Well, I was wondering if you started like from, suppose it's signed out right now and
Sure.
you're on a blank screen, are we using that new system to mostly set up Zoom? I mean, because
So it's just Windows. That's all it'll be. So I can't sign out, right? Because
okay.
but yeah, but when you walk up to this, that is what you'll see. You'll see that, that blue screen and it says like, something about something the IT guys say about something, and then you click OK. That blue screen is exactly what you'll see on this or your laptop or anything like that that requires a login.
Okay, so we'd start by, so I'm used to Apple. I usually.
Oh, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you come in, what I wish I could show you.
Yeah.
When you come in, what you'll see is like a blue Windows screen. And if you move it, there might be a little OK button. And then it just asks for your login.
Okay.
One of the things that I always recommend when logging into a Windows machine on campus, we have two different domains, ACL, WSC. I avoid all problems with domain by using on these machines or any machine that logs in. I use my full email address. That will tell the computer exactly where I belong. So it won't put, it won't error when I try to log in or something like that. Just a tip. Yeah.
And it looked like you had the Zoom setting as one of your shortcuts over there. So I can just sign in to Zoom like I normally would. Like,
yeah, you can make anything a shortcut over here for sure.
okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, and there are quite a few on the desktop.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, that's what I'm trying to, I guess, really say is, it's a lot of fancy makeup, but underneath it all, it's just a computer,
So
Well,
Dave,
because what I'm trying to figure out, so like, suppose I want to record my session, but I also
Yes.
want to project my slides and teach the way I normally taught. That's
Sure.
what I kind of wanted to know, like, I mean,
So
do I
if you
just
were to-
sign into Zoom and then everything else is a go? I don't know.
Well, yeah. So this is something to, take this with you. Whether you're actually broadcasting out to the web or not, you could use Zoom to record your lesson.
Okay, that's through the Hovercam setup, through the computer.
Through the computer, yeah, you would open up Zoom or, have a Zoom scheduled. When you go to record it, just like I'm doing now, this will record and be uploaded to the cloud when I'm done.
Okay.
And if you had that integrated with your Blackboard course, it would just list it there too.
Okay.
I also help with Blackboard if you need help there.
Yeah. Mm.
so Dave,
Yes.
Amanda has a question.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Molly. This is a little bit tangential, I think, to the Hovercam, but maybe other people have a similar curiosity. I'm just wondering about teaching in the mask and whether my students are going to be able to hear me. And is there anything in some of the classrooms that's maybe integrated in the Hovercam that's set up to allow some sort of like, audio to help students? Like I particularly teach in ST 102, which is a big.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Setup. Yeah, I am too, but we do our best.
Yes, we do.
There's no voice amplification.
And I'm sorry to tell you, there's no voice amplification. So,
Very, very loudly.
yeah, I've been blessed, depending on how you put it and who you are. My wife would disagree. with a very audible voice. Yeah, you're laughing. All right. So here's the thing. I can certainly recommend some things. If it were ever truly, if you truly feel you need to do it, I don't know that there's any hardware being given out for that sort of thing. I know that we had a couple of professors last semester with some success. I think Emily remembers there was a little portable, wireless lav mic with like a little speaker, so that when you spoke, it kind of projected it louder. As far as actual room infrastructure, there is no voice amplification. So if you're going over, the only way it would actually go through is if you were on Zoom with one of these units and you had the room volume.
Thank you. At least I know the answer. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I had a better one.
It is what it is. I think I
Yeah.
was definitely, hoping that we wouldn't have to mask in the fall, but
Me too.
obviously COVID had different ideas and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Sorry. I understand your hesitancy and your concern. I really do. Especially in ST 102. That's a rough one. I think a bullhorn is like $19.99 on Amazon.
I think my young daughters would like to discourage mommy from owning a bullhorn.
Oh yeah, good point.
It's okay. I might have to go there.
Can I jump in for a second? And Mariana, I see your hand up.
Yeah.
I just put in the chat a link to my tour guide microphone that I used to teach last fall in the classroom with a mask on. And although I sound a little bit like Darth Vader, it really was useful for not feeling like I needed to yell. And I could just speak and students could hear my voice. So, it was a $35 purchase. It's kind of goofy. It looks goofy. The students laughed at me. I laughed at me, but it worked.
But it works.
It just
Exactly.
saved me from feeling like I was yelling.
I
Yeah,
think the bullhorn is much more fun.
it is.
It is. All right, Mariana, you're waiting patiently.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I can comment on all the other comments, but I think that it's a 2.5-hour class, which I have to teach this semester. It's not the yelling, it's your voice. So I agree with having something to help us with the mask because it's going to be hard. My question, and regarding what Emily was saying, and then someone asked how to record in Zoom, I think even if we're not streaming live, the feature of recording the lecture in Zoom for in-person will be useful because I think we will have students missing class. And it's good to have that option available for us. We just click a button and record it. So I think it's something useful for some of us, even though only.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I'll point out is it's actually so much easier to use Zoom than I'm making it appear with my multiple camera setup with this. If you were using Zoom, and especially if you don't have anybody from the outside, it records beautifully. That's not been a problem I've had with these. Like, these record great.
Yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. But my question was related to the only one time I went in the summer without any training. I just have to give a little talk, and I saw everything, and I would say the instructions were clear. I followed the steps, definitely. But one of the things I was a little bit frustrated. So I'm asking you if you can help. So the touch screen, I was trying to do a couple of things because I have my slides, which I have in the iCloud. I didn't know, so I emailed them myself at the time. Doesn't matter. The point is I have videos in YouTube I have to show. So what happened is as an instructor, you do a couple of things, so you have to go from the PowerPoint to the YouTube video. What happened to me in that, it was in Sullivan, I can't remember the classroom. The touch screen wasn't really, how can I say, very sensitive. Is there anything we can do, like to clean it up or anything, or just the way it is sometimes? Like,
it could have been, because I have to tell you,
one place to the other, and it was like, okay, I clicked, I touch in a different, nicer way, and didn't do it.
Okay. Here's what I would say. Anytime you experience something like that, definitely put in a ticket. That is not normal.
No,
that's not normal at all.
Yeah, no.
If you can come, so I mean,
So can you go from there? Can you just go to the internet? Like, you know what I'm saying is to go to the, like a supposed internet site and then go back to the now go back to the PowerPoint. That's
so if I had to go back to Zoom,
Yeah.
see, I'm not having an issue here. This is very
Okay.
easy. That's why I think whatever you experienced was a malfunction in the screen.
Okay.
Because yeah,
So there
as you
also-
can see, it's
I was a little bit nervous about the cleaning devices, so this is just a clarification because there was things to clean. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna clean the screen with this and it's gonna get like messed up. So is it okay to use what you have there? No problem?
it is, but I
Okay.
will say this.
All right,
Please,
tell us.
please never spray directly on to the
No,
machine.
no, you're spraying on the little device. I
Yes.
Yes.
Device first, the paper towels first, we get that, and then we can clean this up just fine. But yes, thank you
Okay.
for pointing that out.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes. All right, no trash. Oh, well. So yeah. Plenty of toys. Oh, one thing I did forget to show you. Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, if you ever have a situation where, lighting is an issue, crazy, I know. But there are on this, actually, if you look through this, there are 3 LED lights here and another one up here. And on the side, right here, there are some switches and it'll show you one light or all of them. So for example, if I wanted to show this, there we go. And, I was in a very dark room or it was,
Lights were off.
yeah, anything like that.
Very good visibility.
Exactly. I can always click on a light. It's very bright in here as it is. You can't really see it, but I promise you, it's pretty good. It's lighting up the page great. So that's there too, in case you encounter any darkness.
I have a question, Dave.
Yeah,
Ready?
sure.
Say I want to bring in my own laptop and I have an HDMI connection to my computer. Are there cables in any of the rooms or do I have to bring in my own HDMI or whatever USB?
Immersive.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. That solves me carrying or looking for things. Thank you.
Yeah. So with the addition of all this, we tried to take, some complications away. One of those is immersive. They've been great. And as you saw, they're fairly simple to connect to. And of course, I can assist anyone that has any questions or something like that. But bring your own device has actually worked out very well from those that I've talked to. Outside of your normal, like Zoom things, like I'm not sure how to get XYZ, that sort of thing. But immersive as a whole has been fantastic. We've really liked it. And it allows your students to share too, which, it's another like interactivity we didn't have before. So that's nice.
Thank you.
Of course.
Dave, question, if we use the immersive Solstice connection with the laptop, can we still record our lecture if we take that avenue of approach?
So if you're using Zoom on your laptop, yes. So if you're using Zoom and you decide to record your session, it'll still record, your Zoom and whatever you have.
Immersive itself does not have a recording.
Right. The immersive itself doesn't record. That would be Zoom. You'd be using it through the immersive, but you'd actually record via Zoom. Does that make sense?
So if we're just presenting our lectures from our laptop connected to immersive Solstice and not using Zoom, there's no way to record this session.
Unless you have your own software.
I was going to say, unless you have your own screen recorder or something like that, because immersive is, like I said, that's a hardware unit and it just really acts as a bridge between your laptop and the projector. So if you wanted to record it, you would need software like Zoom or
third-party software. Like,
there's tons.
Most editors do it. Handbrake,
Yeah.
I believe, does this. That's a free one if you want it.
Does that make sense? It's really.
If we're in the classroom presenting using immersive Solstice and is there a way to be on Zoom and
Yes.
and still use the system with our laptop?
Absolutely. So when you connect to that, you'll have software, immersive Solstice software, that'll tell you that you're streaming to it. But like anything else, that it just streams it. So if you open Zoom and do a recording, it'll stream that. It just streams it.
But it'll still show up on the screen in the classroom.
Yes.
As normal.
Absolutely. And then if you wanted to record that on top of streaming it, you absolutely could with Zoom or another software of your choice.
Hey,
Does that make sense?
Question for
Yes.
classroom management. Let's say you're using the Immersive Pod and you're broadcasting. Is there anything to stop the students from hijacking the stream?
Right up the top of my head, the easiest thing would be to tell them not to. Because when they join, you'll see their username.
Okay.
Yeah, so as far as an actual barrier, I mean, they need to be in the class and they need to have that number from the screen. So valid question, valid concern. It would just be really, really unintelligent for them to do that, seeing as their name will appear on the screen. And B, as previously mentioned, the codes always change. So it shouldn't be an issue, you know, with the next class popping in. And even if it is, the name appears. Other questions, comments, concerns, compliments? No, I'm just kidding.
You look very nice.
Oh, thank you. Zach told me I look nice. All right. There we go.
And Dave,
Yes,
quick question.
sure.
You have a hands-on training in person on this tomorrow
I think I do, yeah.
from 2 to 4?
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but
I'm
Next
looking at
week.
it. I'm looking at it.
so you do, yeah.
I'm being a wise guy, but
That's next week, I think, right?
Oh.
In-
Oh, is it next week?
I'm sorry, it's next week.
Yep.
It
So
could be
two-
tomorrow by request.
Wait a minute, no, tomorrow, I'm not sure. Never mind, I take it back.
Tomorrow is
That's Thursday.
tests and quizzes in Blackboard and lockdown browser.
Yep. Never mind.
Okay.
Next week.
So I know we're all seasoned faculty and staff, but I would try to get into a classroom before your class actually begins. Touch it, try it out, see how it is. It's not that bad. But
It's not.
I think Mariana, you hit on, you don't want to be standing there the first day of class with your students staring at you, laughing. Well, laughing with you maybe, but it's not so bad.
They actually are laughing with you, believe it or not.
Really?
Asking them about the wireless in their dorms and they'll stop laughing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, you have
No,
a
I'm just
question?
kidding.
Oh.
Joking.
And Champika has another question.
Sure.
Sorry, yes, I had actually put it in the chat, but I'm sure you're not following it because there
I'm
are too many
sorry.
things
It's
to
very
keep track.
difficult.
So if we could stay at the end of this session, I do want to make a time for a
Oh,
hands-on
sure thing.
on campus. Thank
No
you.
problem. Great. All right.
If you all haven't signed in on attendance, please do.
Oh, yes, the attendance sheet.
I know the attendance, and then you get followed up with the evaluation. Thank you for completing them.
Oh, yeah.